Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into, well, the really complex world of global politics right now.
It's definitely moving fast.
Yeah, it's a landscape filled with U.S. congressional shakeups, ongoing geopolitical crises, and you can't ignore the influence of Donald Trump. Our sources show his role is still echoing, way beyond the U.S.
That's right.
So our mission today is to dig into a whole stack of material articles, research, expert notes, and pull out the key things shaping global power. And helping us do that, we've got our expert guide with us.
Thanks for having me. It's a fascinating time. Maybe a bit bewildering, too.
Yeah, bewildering is a good word.
The whole political landscape feels less like, slow chess and more like chess on fast forward.
Definitely.
And what our sources keep pointing to is how these frameworks, these ways of talking that got set up in the last administration, they're still making waves globally. Big ripple, sometimes unpredictable ones. That's really the setup for what we're diving into.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Maybe start close to home in the U.S. The midterms were watched so closely.
Intensely, yes.
Beyond just who won or lost.
Yeah.
What are our sources telling us about the power dynamics in Washington? And more specifically, what does it mean for Trump's influence? On policy, yes, but also like his potential 2024 run.
Right.
You might think, oh, that's just domestic stuff, but the links to global issues are surprisingly strong.
Yeah, they really are. What's critical about those midterms, based on our analysis anyway, isn't just the scoreboard. They were more like a diagnostic for the Republican Party itself.
A diagnostic. I like that.
Exactly. So maybe that big red wave didn't quite happen everywhere.
Right, it's more mixed.
But our sources show that the candidates Trump backed, even when they lost, they often yanked the party's whole platform further right.
Okay. So it wasn't just about winning seats.
No, not entirely. It was about shifting what's considered acceptable to talk about within the GOP. The Overton window.
Right, changing the terms of the debate.
Precisely. His faction, or maybe his brand of politics, it showed it still has real energy with the base. His endorsements, they're still clearly shaping the primaries.
So who gets picked and what they talk about?
And how they talk about it. It's not passive. It's like this gravitational pull. It keeps tweaking the party's center.
Okay.
And any power shifts in Congress, even small ones, people immediately analyze them for what they mean for his 24 chances. He's in this weird spot where, even out of office, he's shaping policy debates just by being, well, him.
Just by being in the conversation.
Exactly. Other candidates have to figure out where they stand relative to him.
That point about the Overton window and shifting the party, that's really key. So how does that domestic picture then ripple outwards onto the world stage?
Well, that's the next logical step, isn't it?
When we look at the big global hotspots, Ukraine, obviously the situation with Taiwan, various trade fights, how do our sources say Trump's policies or just his legacy are still, in the mix?
Yeah, it's easy to see them as separate things.
But the materials hint there's a connection.
There absolutely is. If you connect it all, the big theme is how that America First idea wasn't just policy. It was like a whole philosophical shift for Washington's foreign policy.
A different way of looking at the world.
Completely. Moving away from traditional alliances, more towards transactional deals. Some called it unilateral.
Right.
And that framework, it's still echoing loudly. Later administrations, whatever they want to do, they constantly have to deal with its shadow.
Okay, give us an example, like Ukraine.
Ukraine is a perfect example. Our sources point out that those past hesitations about sending military aid, that skepticism towards alliances and big international commitments.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, that still pops up in today's internal debates in D.C. It's not that policies are identical, far from it, but the arguments for or against certain levels of help often echo those older tensions, about who pays, the cost of being a global leader, focusing on home first.
So the ghost of that debate lingers.
It really does. Then think about China and Taiwan. Trump absolutely set a new, much more aggressive tone, not just tariffs, but the diplomatic talk, more arms to Taiwan.
Right, that was a noticeable shift.
It wasn't just about economics, it was a fundamental reset of how the U.S. dealt with Beijing and that whole one China policy understanding.
So current leaders are stuck with that reset.
They're constantly wrestling with it. Do they keep being that assertive? Do they try to change it without looking weak or maybe too aggressive? That's his legacy playing out right there. It's this constant adjustment to the path he kind of bulldozed, influencing everything from supply chains to warships in the Pacific.
That makes a lot of sense how those initial moves force ongoing reactions. Okay, so Beyond specific policies, beyond these flashpoints, our sources also point to something broader. This surge in populism globally.
Yes, that's a huge trend.
And what's really striking is how Trump's media strategy seems to be almost like a template for new populist leaders everywhere. What is that playbook? And what does it mean for how we all get our information? It's clearly not just about policy anymore.
No, it definitely isn't. And this gets to something really fundamental about, well, our global information space and how we talk politics. You're right, populism is surging everywhere.
We see it reported all the time.
But what's revealing in our sources is how deliberately Trump's communication tactics are being copied. Leaders in Brazil, India, parts of Europe, even the UK, they're literally using his playbook.
Not just similar ideas, but the actual methods.
Exactly. It's strategic copying, tactics that worked incredibly well for him in mobilizing supporters and just dominating the news cycle.
Okay, so what is the playbook? What are the key elements?
Well, our sources kind of break it down. It seems to be about creating these controlled information bubbles.
Right.
It prioritizes going direct, bypassing traditional media newspapers, TV news, by talking straight to supporters, social media, big rallies, even their own sort of media channels.
Cutting out the middleman.
Totally. And the core isn't just being present, it's the constant repetition of these really emotionally charged stories, often framed as us versus them.
Simplifying things.
Hugely. Turning complex issues into these clear good versus evil fights. And when that message gets amplified by dedicated followers shared in online echo chambers, well, traditional fact-checking struggles to keep up.
It reinforces a specific reality for those inside the bubble.
Precisely. And the implication is massive. This battle for the narrative, it's global now, and it's being fought differently. It's not just information crossing borders, it's the methods of shaping and controlling info that are being copied. It changes how we get news, how we understand politics, and importantly, how democracy itself gets challenged.
Wow.
Trump didn't invent populism, obviously, but he arguably redefined the modern communication strategy for it, and others are running with it, often very effectively.
That's a really sobering point about the global narrative battle and these controlled ecosystems. It reframes so much. Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together. We have the U.S. political shifts, the echoes in global crises, this rise in global populism using new media tactics. What does our analysis suggest is coming next? How is Trump's influence likely to keep shaping things?
Yeah, connecting the dots. The sources point to a few key things to expect. First, don't expect Trump's influence on the GOP's direction to fade anytime soon.
Even regardless of 24.
Irrespective of his direct political future, yes, he's shifted the goalposts, like we said, both for candidates and for the party's actual platform. That's likely to stick.
Okay, what else?
Second, get ready for this global fight over media dominance to get even fiercer, that populist playbook. It's being refined and used everywhere. So the struggle to shape what people believe using direct channels and social media, that's just going to intensify. It probably means an even more fragmented, contested information world.
More bubbles, more arguments.
Well, probably. And third, expect this kind of geopolitical brinkmanship to continue. The tough talk on trade, the tensions over Ukraine, Taiwan, these aren't just blips. They're part of a bigger story about shifting global power, often reflecting that transactional America first kind of thinking.
So, bottom line.
The bottom line seems to be this. Trump might or might not be president again, but his style of politics, the strategies, the rhetoric, and also the resistance to it that's going to define this decade. His impact is just this ongoing force, reshaping things both at home and abroad. It's fundamentally changed how power is chased, used, and even how we see it.
That is a really clear, if maybe a bit daunting picture. Thank you. That was a fantastic guide through such a complex web.
My pleasure.
This deep dive has been incredible, genuinely. Yeah. I feel like I have a much better handle on the underlying currents now.
Glad I could help shed some light.
And for you listening, as you think about how these older populist models are getting, turbocharged by new media, affecting everything from your local elections right up to global tensions, maybe consider this. What does it really mean when, in this fast-forward game of global chess, one powerful player's influence has sort of left the tape running, leaving a blueprint for others? And maybe more importantly, how will you watch and try to understand its playback in the years ahead? Thanks so much for tuning in to this deep dive. We hope you stay curious and keep exploring these tangled topics. Until next time.